Hello again, I am Jim Bob. Welcome back to Fendt Farm, and it's time to get our crop planting underway. And we're going to be planting some sunflowers on this field, so we need to clean it first. We need to remove this stubble from the previous harvest because our cultivator, because our seeder for sunflowers does not cultivate as well. So we're going to have to make sure that this field is nice and clean first before we can start planting on it. We also need to look after our sheep and our cows in this episode. They are both on the verge of starvation. Let's quickly take a trip up to the sheep and just tidy up the food trough, give them a little bit extra to hang about with. And then once we've done that, we will continue with our seeding and do some grass cutting because we have no grass left. We've used up all of our pre-cut grass that we had dumped up in this field here. Let's get all these little bits here. There we go. Tip that in. So you can see hardly any food left at all for our sheep. Definitely need to work on that. And our cows will be messy as well. I swear they are the messiest cows on any of the maps. They fill up that area in front of their food trough so quickly. So ridiculously quickly. We'll get that done and then we'll start spiking bales as well. Putting them in the mixer and making up some more TMR for them. Caught on the lip. There we go. Just get those last little bits. There we go. And we'll drop that in the grass trough up here. Again, we're pretty low on grass up here. We've got a bit more than we do for the sheep, but still a little bit low. There we go. So it's Friday, it's the end of another week, and it's another week where we've had no real progress with mods. And we get this every now and again, and it can be a little frustrating at times, but we have to remember that modding is a difficult process. It's not something that's going to be a very quick and easy thing. Another Facebook group has blown up with a huge series of arguments over the frequency of mods yet again, and it's sad to see. A lot of people, have been very critical of mods recently. A lot of people have just, been very dismissive of what's been going on, and also complaining that, well, we don't have any new mods. So at the same time, they're complaining that we're not getting any mods, and then when we do get mods, they then start complaining about the mods themselves. It's kind of sad to see, but it is unfortunate. And it's unfortunately the way things have been going for a while. I really don't like to see that. And a lot of the criticisms are completely unjust as well. It's simply that someone has made something that they didn't want, so that gives them in their mind every right to just shit all over it and say that it's rubbish. It's one thing to be critical of a mod that doesn't work properly. It's another to just completely dismiss a mod simply because it wasn't the one that you were hoping for, which is unfortunately seems to be the main complaint at the moment. It's just, oh, why haven't we got this? Why haven't we got that? So sad to see yet another Facebook group is just bickering and arguing amongst itself over over mods. It's one of the reasons I chose to step down as an admin from the group that I was in. You know, I got fed up with the constant arguing about mods in the group, and you know, I wasn't happy with you know, the way I was treated in trying to be a peacekeeper. So I just walked away from the group. And this is a different one, and it's the same thing going on in there as well. It's becoming, like I say, very, very commonplace to see, and it's not nice to see that, but there's not a lot we can do about that, unfortunately. People are just going to argue amongst themselves over that, and they're going to move from group to group doing it. And I see a lot of familiar faces making the same arguments over and over again in multiple groups. Eventually those people will end up, you know, sort of out of those communities and into different communities, and there it'll all start all over again. But hopefully, hopefully people will calm down and respect the modders a little bit more. We'll have to wait and see. But we've had no mods released this week, or at least as I'm recording this, no mods have been released. And we've had some stuff that's gone through testing and failed testing. And you know, hopefully, you know, those things will be addressed, and we'll still see those mods. You know, just because they haven't been released doesn't, you know, straight away doesn't mean that they're not coming. You know, the one that I was really looking forward to is the Fendt 800 favourite by Smetty. That was his mod contest entry. I was really hoping to have that by Friday, so I could bring it into Fendt Farm this week, but it hasn't happened. So maybe next week. I mean, it's been through testing twice and failed twice now. So I'm hoping that Smetty's just taking a little bit of time to work on those issues that are causing it to fail, and we should hopefully see that in the not too distant future. But we'll have to wait and see. Some of the other updates are taking a little while as well. Golden Days of Farming update is still waiting to go through. Pacific Inlet Logging, the FDR logging map that was added into testing last week, is still in testing right now. That hasn't changed. There's some other bits and bobs that are still, you know, in there, and a few other mods that have failed as well. So that's one of the reasons. That's the main reason why we haven't had anything. You know, stuff has been tested and it's failed. It's been resubmitted, and we're waiting for a successful release. There's no point releasing something if it's not going to work. You know, we've had that problem with a few mods in, you know, in the past, and slightly more recently as well. We had the ITR truck, which I still have installed. I still really like, but you know, it definitely needs an update. I mean, it was taken off the mod hub within about 24 hours of being released, just simply because it was so buggy. So I'm really hoping that we'll get an update on that soon and get that brought back, because it's a great mod. It just needs a little bit of refining. And speaking of mods, we do have a little bit of mod news outside of the fact that stuff has failed testing. Oh yeah, speaking of stuff that failed testing, the BSM truck, the Legend truck that we are definitely waiting for, has also failed testing. Just a minor issue that was quickly fixed and resubmitted, so we may still get that by the end of this week. You never know, it may possibly, if it's been resubmitted. We're still waiting for the thread to be updated today, and it's nearly 2:30 in the afternoon here in the UK, so the thread's normally been updated by now. Normally gets updated around about 12:30, 1 o'clock. We've had no update on the thread, so it's possible that that was resubmitted and has already been put back into testing, which means we may still get it today if it was just a minor issue that needed to be corrected. We may even get it tomorrow. We have seen weekend mods before as well. But in terms of other sort of news, Bullet Bill has been getting his map showcased by a variety of different YouTubers. We've seen videos now from Daggerwin, Landy Kid, Eustace Farmer, Simulate, and a brand new YouTuber called Flatlander84. So there's 5 different sort of let's have a look videos, first look videos of the map out there. I'm not sure how well that's going to translate on console. I mean, obviously these are PC tours. There's a very definite custom lighting engine involved in that map, and I don't know whether we'll get that on console. We'll have to wait and see about that. It's a wonderful map in terms of its aesthetics. It looks beautiful. I'm slightly concerned about how overwhelming it might be for the single player with 90 odd fields. It's one of those maps that does potentially threaten to perhaps overwhelm people a little bit if they're playing on their own. But I do like the look of it, and I think there's a lot of time that could be spent on that map. Definitely a lot of time that can be spent on it. So according to Bill, it's probably about a month away from a release. It's just going through its final stage of PC testing before it gets submitted to Giants. So we should hopefully see that in the not too distant future. And it does look very nice, it really does. And I will definitely be doing a series on it, and it's just a question of what I'm going to do. So we have a few options. Now, I don't know whether any of this is going to change in terms of the equipment that it starts with. It starts with a load of Fendt equipment, which means it would be an ideal place to relocate Fendt Farm to, because Fendt Farm, I think, is starting to run its course on Drummard. We are starting to outgrow this map a little bit now. So I have been keeping an eye out for a potential relocation. We'll have to see how that all shakes out. But the dealership has got Massey branding all over it on on the West Coast, which makes me think, given that we're still waiting for the old generation update for the Massey pack, and we're still waiting for the map itself, is it worth just waiting until both of those are done together and then relaunching Massey Manor on that map, starting off with old small equipment and working our way up to the newer, more modern equipment as the farm progresses? That is something that is also quite appealing. So there's two great maps, or two great choices that we could have there for the map. There, we could do it as a relocation of Fendt Farm. We could do it as the relaunching of Massey Manor, and we'd have plenty of equipment to choose from with either of those two brands. We've got loads of Fendt tractors that we can use, and a couple of Fendt harvesters. We've got a wealth of Massey equipment available to us, with the in-game stuff plus the old generation pack. So either of those two brands would work really well on that farm, I think. And of course, we could bring back New Holland, and we could do a New Holland themed farm. We haven't done a New Holland theme apart from that very short run we had on Sandy Bay. So there's a third choice for you all there. I mean, which of those three would you prefer to see on the West Coast? Fendt Farm, Massey Manor, or a New Holland themed farm? There's plenty to choose from in terms of equipment. And in terms of other maps, we do know that Oxygen David is working on a new farm as well, Oakfield Farm. So I have no idea how long it'll be before we see that. I'll have to look into that one in a little bit more detail, see if I can find out a kind of a rough timetable. I mean, obviously it's not going to have a specific release date, because it has to go through testing to be put onto the mod hub. But we can get a kind of a rough timescale as to whether it's a month away, 2 months away, 3 months away, or more or less, you know, depending on where it is in its current development state. And that will be a very nice looking farm as well, I have no doubt. So what we could do is perhaps maybe whichever one we don't pick for West Coast could go to Oakfield when that comes out. We'll see. We'll see how things go. We'll see what the map looks like, how big it is, how it's laid out. It also depends what other maps come out as well. As we say, we've said in the past, Shu has another couple of maps that he's been working on. Haven't seen any progress on those as to whether they're going to be put into testing. I'm guessing he's waiting until the Golden Days is sorted out. Obviously, we are still waiting for that patch to go through to fix a couple of issues on that map. So it may just be that Shu is waiting for that to be done before he starts work on getting the next map onto the mod hub. How are we doing on our feed levels? Not too bad. I don't think we're going to have enough bales to fill our food trough. I think it's very much going to be a case of we'll have to make sure we stock up on some bales for another run in the not too distant future. We'll probably get 4, maybe 5 days worth of feed. We certainly won't fill the trough, given that we only have 4 silage bales left. So we'll have to do some more silage work at some point in the not too distant future. We are definitely going to have to cut some grass as well. So maybe we could combine the two. Have we got enough actually to buy a bale wrapper? I know we keep leasing one. Can we actually buy one outright? I think we can actually. Let's have a look. Yes, we can. So let's buy a bale wrapper outright. And let's change the foil colour. I do like the black foil. There we go. So I'm going to carry on loading up the bales here. Did I put silage in here as well? No, that's just hay. I'm going to carry on working on these bales and getting this TMR done. And then once that's done, we'll check on our seeding and then we'll start cutting some grass and go grab our bale wrapper as well. Okay, so on my last load I just tried something to see whether or not it would work, and it has. And basically I've been added 2 bales of hay instead of just the 1, seeing as we have capacity for 3 bales. And I was just checking to see whether or not it would throw off the fill progress on the bars, and it hasn't. So both bars have unloaded at the same rate, showing the same progress of power food bar and our hay and silage bar. So that means that we can actually get an extra 4,000 litres per load now. We've got 2 loads left, this one that we're working on plus the one that comes after it. But it just means that we can get that little bit of extra silage, power food mixed up, a little bit of extra TMR in the food troughs. It's effectively like having an extra couple of silage bales by doing it this way. So we can go 1 silage bale and 2 hay. Or we could do it the other way around, I'm guessing, 2 silage and 1 hay. And that would give us enough sort of flexibility. We just unload into the feed area here. You'll see that the bars are both going up at the same rate. So I was worried that we would maybe throw the ratio off a little bit and that the hay and silage would go up and the power food wouldn't, but that has not been the case. Which is great to see. Yeah, really pleased about that. So let's just drop in this final load that we can do. We're not going to be able to completely fill these troughs, or at least not straight away. But we have got, as I say, some mowing to do because we desperately need grass for both our cows and, more importantly, our sheep. They are pretty much, empty now. And we have a bale wrapper, so we can always make up some more silage bales. And maybe just add in those last few, rounds of TMR that we need to fill the trough completely. Can't spike that one at a weird angle. There we go, it's the last hay bale. And I completely missed the feeder. That was terrible. Let's see, can I pick this up? Or is it going to be a little bit wedged between the equipment? It might be a bit wedged. At least we strained it up, so I should now, if I spike it straight on, I should be able to just lift it straight up. I say, hopefully. Yes, there we go. Alright. I think what I'm going to do with those last 3 bales as well is I'm actually going to take those up to the sheep farm. Because the sheep will take hay or grass, and that'll at least keep them tied, just tide them over until we can get some grass cut and prepped and ready for them. There we go. So that's a pretty healthy amount of power food, as you can see there. Grass is definitely a real issue. Water and straw also both need topping up as well. So if we put this away. That's a bit wonky. We can do better than that. There we go. Oh, the Keenan feeder was updated recently. I thought we were getting a wheel update as part of that, but unfortunately, for some reason, it appears we don't have the wheels as a part of the update. But I will show you what the update did bring. It brought this. It brought an older version of the Mech Fiber 340. So we now have the brand new one at 22,500, and for 16,500 we have an older, rustier, dirtier version that's been around the block a little bit. It's like a used second-hand version. It's nice to see that we have the option of bringing in some older equipment like that, some more used equipment. It makes it a very attractive starting out piece. But unfortunately, yeah, no wheel update. And I swear that the capacity's been increased as well slightly. I could have sworn it was 12,000 exactly last time. It's now 12,750. So I may be wrong on that. I'll have to check and see a previous video after it was updated to the Keenan feeder, see what the capacity on it was. But yeah, 12,750 is showing there, and I swear that's gone up from 12,000. I may be wrong on that one. But let's get our straw situation sorted next. So there's our trailer. We're going to need to top the hayloft off soon. That's starting to run a little bit low, down to 62,000 litres in there, plus however much we use today will be taken out of that as well. so definitely going to need to top up some more straw. We do have some other bales left over from our time with the pigs, with the bale shredder, so we can bring those over, shred them up, and then sell the bale shredder. We won't really need it anymore. Oh, we used up the whole trailer there. I'm surprised at that. We still need more as well. Okay, let's see how much more we're going to need. I think that should be enough. Let's see if I've judged this right. Oh, not far off. Just 600 over on the capacity there. So I'll drop that there. There we go. Put our trailer back in position, and then it'll be onto the water. And then once we've done the water, we'll be onto grass. Break out the mowers. There we go. Helper E has finished his task. Which one was Helper E? Helper E is my cultivator. Have we finished cultivating this field? Just run down the side here just to make sure. It looks like it's all done. At the same token, it also looks like there's just thin patches of the previous, field potentially poking through. I just want to make sure that we've got no iffy patches left, that it is all usable. There we go, that looks pretty good to me. So, we can drop the cultivator off, we can pick up our other seeder, and we can get some sunflowers planted on here. Probably going to do corn on fields 2 and 3. Because we have a little bit of corn. I think we've got about 3,000 litres of corn. Those two fields will bring in a pretty sizable harvest. Let's just clean off our cultivator. Not too worried about cleaning the tractor because it's going to get dirty again almost immediately. We haven't finished using it yet. And Helper F has completed his task as well. That is our soybean harvest, or soybean crop planted now. So let's shove that in there. And our other seedo's just over here. I brought it over off camera. This has been living up on the other field since we did those beets. We've got plenty of fertiliser, I think. Actually, no, this is a bigger field, isn't it? So we'll top up the fertiliser as well. There we go. Let's top up the seed. Let's change that to sunflowers. There we go. Capacity on this seeder is a little disappointing, and I'm toying with the idea of replacing it with the Lemken seeder that came out a little while back, because that is a 6-meter seeder that can plant anything. And I mean anything. It can plant grain. It can plant grass as well as all of the grain types. At least I think it can. Pretty sure it can. Doesn't have a huge capacity tank, but it does have a larger seed tank than this one. Not by much, but it would be nice to maybe freshen the equipment lineup a little bit. Let's see, where's our Black Beauty? over here. Is everything over here seeded? Yep, looks as though that's all completely done. So let's fold this up. And we're not quite done with this yet because I want to finally, get rid of that beet stubble that we have left over on the other field. We're going to grass that field off again. And so we need this seeder to do that for us. So let's get that over to the other farm, set up and grass that little field out. So it's a little bit tight at that end of the field. We're going to put in a headland. And then we can just let the AI do his thing. It won't take him long to do this field, especially with the seeder this size. It's a big old thing, this 9-meter horse pronto. We'll put this headland in. There we go. Now the AI should be able to just run comfortably and get this field cleaned off for us. Been meaning to do this for a little while, just haven't got around to it. We'll finally get it done now. So there we go. Right, both our seeders are off and running, so we need to do some mowing. Let's drop our bale spikes. Where should we drop these? Let's drop these out of the way. Against the wall here will be a good location. There we go. And we're going to take these 3 leftover hay bales up to our sheep. Hopefully I won't need a rear weight for this. There we go, clamp those down. We're a little front heavy, not too bad. A little bouncy, but we should be okay. There we go. So we've got a nice bit of food up here for them. Let's see. Oh wow, they're almost full. Is that all it needed? Just 3 bales? I honestly thought, man, no, that makes sense actually. If you've been watching Big Bud Farm, you'll have seen, that a single stack of 4 bales was enough to feed 100 sheep. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. That only 3 bales would be enough to fill up a stack of 70 sheep. So we'll drop the claw off, and then we can get on with some mowing. Get a nice little grass supply built up. We need to go and collect that bale wrapper at some point soon as well. So put this down to the side. And did we give water to our animals? I don't know if we gave them water yet, actually. Did we give them water? No, we didn't. So, we need to water our cows. Sheep are okay. We don't really have to worry about the sheep too much. But the cows are definitely looking thirsty. Let's drop that. So the fork's off. And there we go. Helper E has finished. Yep, that's the Horse Pronto. Told you it wouldn't take very long to do that field. And we'll get the mower set up on this one. We use our little 313 to do the water. There we go. Right, so where's our 313? There it is. Our water trough. Or water tanker, as I should say, just here. Looks like we might have parked that a little close to the wall. Just to connect to that. Now, you know what? I'm going to go and top the sheep up anyway, just to be on. Seeing we've just filled up their water, sorry, their food trough. We may as well make sure that their water is at a similar level. Otherwise, we're only going to have to keep going back, more than one trip for more than one reason. A little later down the line, so we'll get that done now. There we go. So we've got about 5,000 litres of water. Is that going to be enough? Probably not. Yeah, I mean, they've got 2,000 and look how little that is. So definitely going to need to top this up, and even then it might not be enough. We're refueling. Forgot that happens if you replace, if you approach the because of the way these things are placed, if you approach from the wrong direction, then you have a chance of well, you're more likely to end up getting offered the opportunity to refuel the tractor than refill the tanker. There we go. Squeeze our way through. Of course, the cows take this opportunity to just block me off completely. Come on, move, cow. I will drive through you if I have to. Oh, come on. They're all just... There we go. Yeah, look at that. We're definitely going to need another load of water. That's just not going to be enough. That's the wrong gate. I keep doing that. I don't know why. Keep going to drive through that gate when I mean to just go straight up. I don't know why I do that. It's almost every single time I want to come back up here, I end up trying to drive off out and exit the farm. Bizarre. Alright, that should be enough. No, I can't drop water in the food trough. I keep doing that as well. I always go to, to put water in the food trough up here on the cows. I don't know why. I guess I'm just so used to those troughs being close to each other on other maps. Just muscle memory takes over. And there we go. So, water is done. TMR is done. All that's left to do now is grass work. So, let's park this up. Jump in our 724 and start cutting some grass. There we go. And we'll start over here on this long field. This is quite a nice one to mow, this field here. Alright, let's get some mowing done. Alright, so this field is mowed. Before we go ahead and mow the next one, I'm going to park up here. I need to refill our seeder because it has run out. So we'll get that refilled. And we're going to start collecting up some of that grass as well. Taking that over and refilling the food trough for our cows and our sheep. Sheep are done, aren't they? It's just the cows now. So we'll get the cows' grass trough filled, and then we'll continue to do some mowing. And in the next episode, we'll row everything up, bale everything up, and we'll wrap a load of bales as well. And we'll start to build a nice little stockpile of bales for the future. So where am I going? I have absolutely no idea where I'm going with this seeder. Sometimes you start talking and your mind just switches off and you don't start paying attention. There we go. So, get this back on onto the job at hand. It's because I was talking about collecting up that grass. That's why I was suddenly whizzing my way over to that field. We'll use the Black Beauty to do that. Alright, we look to be lined up. Yep, there we go. Okay, so Black Beauty. We'll deposit our seeder just up here for now. We'll grab the loading wagon that we have just over there. You can see it poking out. And we'll take this route out. This will actually bring us closer to the grass field that we need to go to. Save us having to go all the way through the farm to get there. I was going to say, question is, can I get out without getting stuck? And before I even had the chance to say that, I got stuck. So that kind of answers that question before it's even been asked. There we go, so a quick tour. A lap of the field should be enough. It's not going to be a huge amount of grass because, well, you know, it's just a single row of an unfertilised, unploughed field, but it should be enough to at least fill our grass trough. At least I'm hoping that's the case anyway. So I'm going to finish getting this all sort of done, and then we'll drop this off into the cow food trough. One lap got us the equivalent of 3 bales. I'm hoping that's going to be enough. Guess now we'll find out. Can always do another lap if I need to. Yeah, we're going to need to do another lap. But at least we have a nice supply of grass there. So, alright, that's pretty much it for the end of this episode then. I'll do another lap and drop that in. And then I'll continue to mow, and then we'll do some rowing and some baling and all that good stuff in the next episode. So thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I will catch you back on Fendt Farm very soon.